This was made in Mexico. Now, the title is very important. This is called Feast of Fools. And basically, what happened is that I was in Mexico City at a forensic morgue. That's a morgue about people who die in unusual ways. The baby was found dead and autopsied. This arm was cut off very violently, some sort of explosion, I don't know. This foot, I don't know the sources of them all, but there was a crime committed. Huh? And I don't want to know what happened because in the morgue they really can't tell me. But what I wanted to do is in this drawer, a very deep drawer containing all this cut off parts of bodies and fetuses. It was like looking at hell. Obviously I shop for fruit and vegetables, and this is not just a still life. And the most important thing here is that this image represents the stupidity and ignorance of history, what we do to ourselves. In this case, I printed through glass, and I actually made this on the glass with different chemicals.
And all of that as well? Or?
Oh yeah. A lot of that is on the glass. You can tell because I'm actually taking some of it off. There's some scratching. But when this print, I had to show at Pace when this was shown, they said, he got a goat with an erection. Whether she wanted to be a virgin as a lesbian or a virgin as a heterosexual, I don't know. That's interpretation. But in my case, and I've written about this piece and why I made it, she turns into a tree that becomes the wood of the cross. I took the feet off. I wanted to make the goat as small as possible. I used the goat because of the relationship to her scale. It's a nice one. It's a beauty. I'm embarrassed about it.
Des cinéastes aussi.
I didn't want to show her hair. She had blonde hair. And so this is mohair. And the mohair is great because you can sculpt it, you can braid it, and the hair is messed up after having sex with her lover. And what makes it contemporary is her lover, she's giving her lover a condom. So it's like changing history and updating history, updating the myth. And the hand behind that, in the background is black velvet, very, very dark. And there are two veterinarians here. I was given these two geese. This is one goose, this is the other goose, because the wing can't stretch around. So we have one veterinarian holding this, the other holding the wing in the background, and the woman who works for me is actually holding the neck. The eye I put in digitally, because for me that's no problem. I deal in fiction anyway. And I don't use a digital camera, but I do, on the occasion, I need it, like putting an eye in. I could have collaged this, but I don't like the look of the collage. I like the fact that I can choose this and get an 8x10 negative. And that's how I print this. It's shot 4x5. Then a negative is made after it's scanned with this information, and it's flawless. So the information comes from the surface because it's on the negative. So I deal with a regular negative, but it has the scan information on it. And then I put it in the enlarger, and it becomes a regular negative that's printed in classic black and white. I've seen the strangest person, was in drag, like a polio victim, very strange, and dragging a wheelchair about 3 o'clock in the morning through the streets and drunk. And so he's very, very aggressive, and he gets out of his car and talks to this person and finds her name is Bunny. And Bunny is a pre-op transsexual, and very, very thin. And by the time I found Bunny, this person was in Texas, living at her father's ranch. And I found out about this because I knew friends of Bunny's in LA, and they said, oh, she's living in Texas, you know, so I had to basically find out her number, get her to come back to LA for this photograph. And so on the plane from Albuquerque, I carried this aid, which I made. I came a few days earlier, and I had to convince two new mothers to have their children in a photograph with this very strange woman. And actually, this is the same stump. That takes years, I guess, to find a very good printer who can work with the emotion, but it's a secondary aspect because, I can imagine a printer being so fantastic that he complements the work. That's possible, it's romantic. But usually it's a guy that punches a clock in a laboratory and does his best. And what you're getting then is the best that you can work with. It proves that
Maybe we can sit where
yes,
you were for
I'll sit
an
with you.
interview.
Let's go.
Okay. Thank you. More comfortable. Maybe can you put this in your jacket?
My imagery, regardless if it's based on the past or the present, because in making a photograph, a person doesn't make a photograph to see what it looks like photographed. You make an event of human interest, of a human condition. You make an event that is a contribution to society and art. I would say that my work is based on the human condition, in other words, what people do in life, and the relationship of their cumulative history and how they've affected life on Earth. And that's the first part. And the second part is the relationship to the divine. If a person is secular, then it's all about what they feel. When their life ends, it's a void, it's a blackness. I don't think it's that way. In fact, I think that's a stupid way of looking at life because everything is too incredible and marvelous. I've always loved the idea of, and every country has this, the fact that there's writing or description around or below or inside the image. And to me, when a work is presented, it usually doesn't have, well, for me it's very important to have a title, because the title of a work is either the starting point or the end point. Sometimes I don't release a photograph unless it has a title. It has to have a meaning. Now, some abstractionists like Rothko would sometimes name and just then number particular paintings. Rothko was a namer, but a person like Cindy Sherman and the postmodernist or the post-physical, or they call them themselves the post-human art, which I disagree with. A number of the prints, and I think that is stupid, because I think anything that contributes to the concept and explaining the concept of what is made by an artist helps. I knew Andy Warhol, and he was a brilliant artist, but a very kind of screwed up person, and I think that if it was less screwed up, he'd be a better artist. But he still made a great contribution, and I couldn't help, how he was emotionally. But I always think about things like that. And in my case, it's the reverse. I mean, in my case, unless a person knows my intention, why I make the work, and is informed, I try with all my heart and soul to make each work. I live to make that work. I empty myself out to make the work. And so that I work very hard to manifest the image. And I expect the viewer to work just as hard to find out why it was made, not because of the subject matter necessarily, but the subject matter is the starting point usually, and the condition of the reference of the image. But they have to work. My work is not made to describe so much as it's made to be meditated on. I've learned something from making the work. And so, of course, of these great artists who have made these works, a selection of these works, and why these works last, and why I hope my works will last, is the fact that what is deposited in the works